We pulling?
What's up, I'm Jim Fro, and this is the Ready Check Pull boss guide to Imperator Averzian on normal and heroic. Big shout out to Rested XP for not only sponsoring the video, but being the absolute best way to level in World of Warcraft. I'm using it right now to level in Midnight, and honestly, I'm cruising past the homies. Use our link in the description or pinned comment for 10% off all of their guides. Imperator Averzian is the first boss of the Voidspire. It has a mix of single target, cleave, and AoE damage, and this is a bloodlust on pull fight. The easiest way to explain this fight is to start with the main idea first. The boss is in a room that has 9 zones, and every so often the boss casts Shadow's Advance, which summons 3 adds, one each on one of the random zones around the room. The tank will get a group soak that has to be put on one of the adds to destroy it and stop it from claiming that zone. Then you do the same thing a second time. Tank gets a group soak, brings it to one of the Abyssal Void Shapers to stop it from claiming that zone. There's always one left over, which means that zone is now claimed. The better and lucky you are at group soaking the adds, the longer you'll have to kill the boss. If there's ever 3 claim zones up at the end of the tank soak, you're dead. Now, let's go through the fight. You'll start by tanking the boss around the middle of the room. After a few seconds, the boss will cast Shadow's Advance, which spawns 3 big void circles on the ground that explode after a few seconds, basically one-shotting anyone inside of them. This is what spawns the 3 Abyssal Void Shaper adds that are casting on random zones. Shortly after, the current tank will get a group soak that needs to be soaked by several other players on top of one of the 3 adds. When the soak explodes, everyone takes a big hit and has a ticking dot on them for 6 seconds. This will also destroy the Void Shaper ad that's inside of it, canceling its cast. The second tank will then taunt to instantly get the second group soak that needs to go on the second ad. And this also needs several players in it to split the damage and destroy the ad. After the 2 ads are dead, the last ad will finish casting, claiming that zone for the boss, becoming attackable, and spawn several little Void Maw ads through any claimed zones that are up. Now, during testing, missing an ad with a soak wasn't the end of the world, but it significantly reduced our available time on the boss since we'd hit 3 adjacent claim zones much faster. Once the third Void Shaper ad becomes attackable, round up all the little ads and cleave them on top of the big ad away from any portals and away from the boss. On normal, the ads have some abilities, but they're not that important. Just make sure to interrupt and kill them quickly. On heroic, the Void Shaper ads are slowly gaining energy and will wipe the raid if it gets to full energy, so if you see an Obscurian Endwalker, you took way too long to kill the Void Shaper. Also on heroic, when the little Void Maw ads get to 35% HP, they try to walk back to their portal to fully heal. This is why we kill them away from the portals and use grips, stuns, and slows to keep them in place. If Averzian ever gets too close to a claim zone or any ads, he gains a buff that increases his damage by 75% and reduces his damage taken by 90%, so make sure the boss is always kept away from basically everything. The boss also has a few other abilities. The tanks will be taunt swapping on the group soak, but they also have blackened wounds to deal with. It's a stacking 4% health reduction, so if this gets to like 8 to 12 stacks, you might need to taunt swap again. There's some spiked lines that shoot out from the boss after a few seconds. These are pretty easy to see, so just sidestep when they come up. On heroic, every once in a while, the boss will cast Desolation, which puts a soak circle on one of the claim zones. This needs to be soaked by one player or else it does a big hit to the entire raid and puts a dot on everyone. This could easily wipe the raid, so make sure at least one person is in the soak whenever it happens. And lastly, if you see a bunch of ads marching throughout the boss room, you just let 3 claim zones happen and you're dead. And that's pretty much it. Here's a quick recap for you to review or screenshot for later. And don't forget, you can find full walkthroughs of every boss on our Patreon. Links in the description. Thanks again to Rested XP for sponsoring the video. If you're playing Midnight, the Rested XP in-game add-on has step-by-step routes that tell you exactly where to go, what to pick up, and more importantly, what to skip. So you can basically just sit back and blast your way to 90. Use our link in the description or pinned comment for 10% off. Peace.